Hey, thanks for joining us on 9 News Plus. I'm meteorologist Chris Bianchi to take a detailed look at your travel forecast for not only Thanksgiving, but also not only for Thanksgiving here in Colorado, but we're going to take a look at the nationwide outlook as well, as it does look in a few spots like it's going to be a little bit dicey as we head into your Thanksgiving. And by the way, here in Colorado, could be talking about some snow showers that impact us for tomorrow night and Thursday morning on your Thanksgiving morning. Live look here at Denver, though, just a few high clouds overhead, and it's a pretty nice morning out there. A little bit on the chilly side, but temperatures should rebound well into the 50s for most of us this afternoon. Light mountain snow tomorrow after a mild day today. So if you got any outdoor plans, today's a pretty good day to get those in. Tomorrow looks okay for the most part along the Front Range. In the mountains, though, we'll see some snow move in as early as late tomorrow morning. And then Thanksgiving looking pretty chilly. Definitely want to have that Thanksgiving indoors this year. Does look to be, unfortunately, a little bit on the cold side and also perhaps a little bit on the snowy side during the morning hours on your Thanksgiving morning. HD Doppler radar not really showing a whole lot right now. Do have a little bit of high level cloud cover with a very weak system that's passing its way off to our north. But the main system, the one that's going to impact us late tomorrow night and Thursday morning, it's this one here across the Pacific Northwest. It's leading to a lot of rain for Seattle, go figure, and Portland as well, and some snow up into the higher terrain in Washington State and Oregon. That system will drop down into our region tomorrow and Thursday morning. In the meantime, though, things looking pretty tranquil as we head through the rest of our day today. Overnight tonight looks calm as well, and that includes the entire state. Again, no real issues across the state weather-wise until tomorrow, but the rest of today, tonight looking A-okay. Current temperatures, 20s and 30s and in the mountains for the most part. A few teens in some of the colder spots, including the Gunnison Valley. And then also looking at into the higher terrain or along the eastern part of Colorado, 40s and 50s. And Greeley, as usual, a cold spot. Mentioned that yesterday. Greeley situated between the Cheyenne Ridge and the Palmer Divide, so it's a bit of a low spot, and as a result of that, it does tend to, that cold air, which is heavier and denser, tends to drain down into Greeley and that kind of pocket there of northeast Colorado, Fort Morgan, and that's why you're a little prone to being chillier this time of the year. Today, temperatures mid-50s for us here in Denver. We do increase some high clouds. I don't think that we're going to be looking at cloudy skies necessarily later on today, but we will be looking at some increased high-level cloud cover later on today, probably a bit more tonight as well. And we'll be at 54 degrees today. Average high for this time of year, 50 degrees, and those winds on the light side of the southwest at 5 to 10 miles an hour. Highs today, 50s on the eastern plains, 30s and 40s on up into the mountains. Tonight, it is mostly clear and calm. Temperatures drop down into the mid-20s, clearing skies. And we do have temperatures for tomorrow on up to around 50 degrees. Tomorrow's increased cloud cover will be a bit more noticeable than today's. There's the potential for some late snow tomorrow night after dark along the Front Range. A few flurries for us here along the Front Range and mountains. If you're traveling through the mountains, especially along and north of I-70, that's where things could be a bit dicier for our day tomorrow. Highs tomorrow, 50s, even a few low 60s in southeast Colorado. Mountains 20s and 30s out ahead of that next storm system. So here's a closer look in at that next storm system. In fact, I'm going to have a bit more of a detailed look here in just a second at that, as we do have for our day tomorrow. Some of those snow showers, they'll move their way on through. And let me pull this up for you because I actually had the wrong graphic in there. Here's the right one, and a better look at tomorrow's snowfall. So we'll see that snow first develop along and north of I-70, perhaps as early as late tomorrow morning, but I don't think we'll be looking at too much in the way of travel impacts until mid-afternoon to maybe late afternoon tomorrow. Maybe you're heading up to Steamboat Springs, you're heading up Rabbit Ears Pass or Berthoud Pass for Thanksgiving, or you're traveling up that way for a day tomorrow. Try and get that done as early as possible. I think we'll be generally okay. It will be snowing, but the snow will be mainly accumulating probably later in the day tomorrow and more significantly after dark tomorrow. So if you can avoid it, I would avoid traveling after dark tomorrow here on your Wednesday because it does look to be a little bit slick on the roads. And that could include the Eisenhower Tunnel, Loveland Pass, and the kind of I-70 corridor as well. By tomorrow night, we'll start to see some of those first flurries move their way out into the Palmer Divide and the southwest foothills outside of Denver. Here in town, probably mostly just kind of cloudy, but we will see the chance for a flurry here in town tomorrow night and early Thursday, with the potential for maybe a dusting to an inch or so of snow in Denver, south and west of town, closer to maybe 2 to 3 inches along the Palmer Divide as well as into the foothills. Meantime, Thursday morning, some of those snow showers along north of I-70 sticking around, and then those clear on up later in the day. So, snowfall forecast. Here's what we can expect in terms of those snowfall totals. For the mountains, most of this is tomorrow night. For the Denver area, this is late tomorrow night, and for Thanksgiving morning, when we're expecting that snow to accumulate out our way. Not expecting much in the way of accumulation here in Denver, but the further south and west you go, so let's say you're watching me from Highlands Ranch or Castle Rock or Morrison, especially the south side of Morrison, Castle Pines, most of Douglas County, that's where you could see 2 to 3 inches of snow, and that could include the Gap as well. So just keep that in mind if you're traveling late tomorrow night and Thanksgiving morning, that there will be some accumulation out on the roads on I-25 at the Gap. So again, just keeping in mind those travel concerns. But in the Denver area, I think those travel concerns will be fairly limited. We are expecting maybe up to an inch or so of snow. But the good news is, of course, most of that would be on Thanksgiving morning, when traffic should be a lot lighter. So that is perhaps some good news as well. It's not going to be a morning drive kind of impact, of course, with Thanksgiving morning. The roads looking pretty deserted, I would imagine, on Thanksgiving morning. It does look cold, though, on Thanksgiving. High just 40 degrees. Again, definitely, and it's going to be a bit windy on Thanksgiving as well. So definitely want that Thanksgiving indoors. We'll see some sunshine during the afternoon. But hey, to me, it's the kind of perfect Thanksgiving weather, right? I mean, we're all admittedly overeating on the couch inside. You don't want it to be 60 degrees and sunny outside. And it's kind of inviting and feel like you should be outside. Kind of want it to be a little bit cold and kind of cozy inside, right? It's going to be that kind of weather for us on your Thanksgiving day. On your Thursday, Friday, Saturday, temperatures warm on up, 50s, 60s for us by the weekend. Then we gradually cool on down, and then we get some increasing clouds early next week out ahead of what could be our next storm system. Next week looks a bit more active, but in the meantime, that travel outlook across the country for a day tomorrow, this is actually this is slightly incorrect, but it does look to be mostly on the snowy side in the northern Rockies, as well as into the southern plains. I must have saved something different here, because this is the better travel outlook. So here's what we're looking at a bit more thoroughly. It looks to be a little bit showery for us in the Midwest and in the Intermountain West, including us here in Colorado. That's where you could be seeing some of that snow and a few flurries in northern New England. And by the way, for us here in the Denver area, that chance for Thanksgiving snow, we get Thanksgiving snow, and again, we got a chance this year. It's about a 1 in 4 chance that we see some of that snow here on your Thanksgiving. And by the way, I mentioned this yesterday, Thanksgiving is actually on average a slightly snowier holiday, based on our climate record here in Denver, than Christmas is. So Thanksgiving tends to be a bit snowier than Christmas. How about that? We've got about a 1 in 4 chance of seeing measurable snow on your Thanksgiving. And I think we got probably closer to about a 50% chance of seeing measurable snow on your Thanksgiving here in the Denver area. Back in 1979, we had 14 inches of snow on the ground. And in terms of the snowiest Thanksgiving Day itself, that was 1928, when we had 8.5 inches of snow on that Thanksgiving. So overall, headlines, takeaways: if you're heading to the mountains, try and get that done as early as possible, that travel done as early as possible tomorrow, especially before dark. I think the worst of the travel impacts of the mountains will be after dark tomorrow. Now, in the Denver area, we do expect at least some flurries and maybe up to an inch, maybe 2 inches of snow here in town, but there will be a better chance for that snow more on Thanksgiving morning here in the Denver area. And probably most of that would be kind of the first part of the morning, so maybe around dawn on Thanksgiving morning, around kind of 5, 6, 7 a.m. We'll see some of those flurries. And those accumulations and those chances for snow will increase the further south and west you go in the metro area. So the foothills, especially the southern foothills, and the Palmer Divide. That's where we're going to be looking at that greatest chance for seeing some of that accumulating snow here in the Denver metro area. But here in town, probably looking at most areas enough to kind of sweep off your car, and maybe a little bit more than that south of I-70. But for the most part, a fairly low impact snow event coming up on your Thanksgiving morning, but could get a bit more snow here in the Denver area on top of the 9.2 inches of snow that we've already seen so far this season. I'll have another update coming up for you at 9 News at noon, and then Chief Meteorologist Kathy Sabin's in at 4 and 5 today, and then Meteorologist Lauren Robinson's in at 6, 9, 10 tonight on the 9 News family of networks. Once again, I'm Meteorologist Chris Bianchi. Thanks for joining us here on 9 News Plus, and have a great rest of your Tuesday, and also, of course, later on this week, a happy Thanksgiving as well.